You are welcome back to today's broadcast. Let's look into Nigerian politics today. What that is going on in between the political system of Nigeria. So, the fight between APC and NDC, and also the fight between ADC. Between NDC, ADC, sometime once somebody is calling it, it will look as if it is the same, although it's the same. Just the difference between them is A and N. Now, Atiku finally joined Obi, and Kwankwaso also is about to join um, in ADC as APC confusion over 2027. So, in fact, a lot is going on between NDC party and how everybody is planning what and what to do. Don't skip any part of this video. Try to watch it to the end so that you understand what this our activist is saying concerning this APC, NDC, and ADC, and how every of them is trying to join from one party to another, from one party to another, and the reason why they are joining, and the confusion that is between them now, and why everybody is trying to join within the party. Because in fact, everybody is thinking about 2027 election. That is all they are thinking about for now. Nobody wants to listen to the poor man cry. Nobody wants to listen to the hardship in the country. And then, as you can see, P2B running from one party to another, Kwankwaso, Atiku, every of them, and their boss, which is Tunubu, is their boss. So everybody is planning how to bring him down by all means. But let's still see. Let's still wait and see 2027 what will happen, because 2027 is the only thing that will judge or that will determine where and what they are doing. And so, in fact, I would like you to watch the video for you to see by yourself things that is happening between those parties, and then the fight between those parties, who and who they are now placing as their presidential candidate as for now. So I was about to watch, like, subscribe, and share it for everyone to see what is going on in Nigeria.
You are welcome back to my channel. We shall be listening to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar as we explain the reasons he is going to NDC, talking about Nigeria Democratic Congress, the destination of Opitobi and Kwankwaso already. As we have it, let me start from this statement that came from an analysis RFI in the past. Of course, a confidant of Atiku and a fellow Fulani man, who they were all in the same coalition before his incarceration and before Obi and Kwankwaso finally defected to NDC. He's saying, let's try to register a new party in case the government creates coerce in the coalition. You can't create coerce in a new party. That is why we have that plan in place. The campaign to ADC is a temporary solution. So that is why it is very clear that they already have this plan to move to another platform from the beginning. Like I told you, you are listening to Atiku very soon. His position in the past to tell you that he is not going to be left alone in that ADC. But again, this tweet that is coming from Dave, that is saying former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has opened up on speculation of resigning from the ADC to join P2B and Rabiu Kwankwaso in the NDC. So I think it is becoming clearer that in the near future, very soon, the man Atiku will likely make his intention known to the world. More so as the man, Buba Galadima, of course, another confidant of Atiku, and of course, a confidant of Rabiu Kwankwaso, have called on Atiku to join hands with them in NDC to challenge the incumbent. Of course, this is coming from Daily Post, where it's saying 2027 follow also NDC to unseat APC government. Buba Galadima begs Atiku. Now, we are listening to Atiku very soon, but do not forget that in the build up to these whole political activities that have since tensed up, we saw opposition political parties meeting in Ibadan. That was hosted by Seyi Makinde, of course, the governor of Oyo State, where as part of that communique, was that they were going to feed a single presidential candidate as a way of being formidable enough to be able to unseat the incumbent. That's why I bring you up to speed with what we have currently on Premium Times, where it says opposition parties adopt a Ibadan declaration put for joint 2027 presidential candidates. So I think it's becoming clearer that anytime from now, the man Atiku will be joining his colleagues, talking about the opposition political stakeholders in NDC to challenge the incumbent. But meanwhile, let's listen to Atiku himself, how he chronicled the possibility of winning election as opposition, how you need to do it, what you need to do it. You can understand that from what you are going to hear from him, he perfectly sit with being on the same platform as a united opposition rather than a fragmented opposition. I think after listening to him, it will become clearer to any designing mind that for Atiku and Obi to succeed in this quest of unseating the government, that they must come together as a united opposition. But listen to Atiku as we come back to further this conversation.
Party. This is a party that doesn't have a governor, doesn't have members of the National Assembly, doesn't have state assembly members, and politics in this country depends on the structures you have at these various levels, at the local government level, at the state level, and at the national level. So it is very, very difficult to expect a miracle to happen, simply because Peter Obi is in the Labour Party.
Well, two quick follow-up questions. The first one is...
After all, they were saying through the social media they had more than 1 million votes in Osun State. But how many votes turn out to vote for Labour Party? And then again, mark you, we are talking about social media. In the north, 90% of our people are not tuned to social media.
For what we are just saying, for what we just heard, it's becoming increasingly clear, abundantly clear, that with a fragmented opposition, it is going to be a Herculean task to defeat the incumbent. Because I'm not saying that if we had free, fair, and credible election, that it would equally be a Herculean task. But currently in Nigerian political landscape, it is unlikely that we are going to have level playing ground, that we are going to have free, fair, and credible election, judging by the characters in Nigerian political space. The question now is, if we have a fragmented opposition, what is the chance of Obi winning the election under NDC? And if Atiku eventually dump ADC and return to and defer to NDC, is Atiku going to adopt Obi and Kwankwaso as the sole candidate? But I want to believe that this is part of the reason the man RFI is kept out of circulation. Because I want to believe that someone like RFI is someone that have what it takes to prevail on Atiku to drop his ambition to back a certain candidate. More so as NDC as a party have since sown their ticket to the southern part of the country. And for what I'm saying, if the man RFI gets out of detention, I want to believe that he's going to start from where he stopped. Because we understand that the bail application that will see him breathing air of freedom is coming up maybe by June. And if he released by June, even if an Atiku already secured the ticket of ADC, and perhaps Obi and Kwankwaso already secured a joint ticket under NDC, it is not too late for even an Atiku to discontinue his ambition and perhaps withdraw from the race and throw his weight behind Obi and Kwankwaso. So that is why the presence of RFI is of paramount importance to the opposition. Because after the death of Buhari, RFI seems to be the next rallying point for the North and basically for the Fulanis. We all saw what played out and how it played out when he buried his mother, when he was briefly released to bury his mother. We saw the who and who in the country, we saw the political class, we saw the northern stakeholders, everybody rallying around the man, Mananasi Erufai. So to that extent, his presence is highly needed for the opposition to be able to articulate and galvanize their interests. But in the meantime, we understand that currently the window for political parties to submit their register to INEC will elapse in 4 days' time from now. That was explain the reason the likes of Obi and Kwankwaso quickly move to beat that deadline. It's unclear whether the umpire talking about INEC will shift the dates. But we understand that going by the Electoral Act, particularly section 77, subsection 4, is very clear that political parties are mandated to submit or rather to notify INEC of their primary 21 days before the primary. And in the course of that notification, they are mandated to submit their register or rather their register to INEC. And once such register or register is submitted to INEC, it forecloses every possibility of registering new entrants into their party. However, that is not to say that people can no longer jump ship, people can no longer defect, but even as you defect, you cannot be registered into their register. Hence, all registers of all the political parties that intend to participate in the election are already with INEC. I think that is a smart one that was played by the ruling party and those who manage the process, because even with the current situation, a situation where many senators will be skimmed out of the Senate, a situation where the governors currently, most of them, about 8 of them, even in APC, who their tenures will be ending, who have who will be spending 8 years tenure at the end of this current administration, are already planning to contest to return to Senate. And normally, if the time were there, ultimately most of those who feel aggrieved would have decided to go to other political party to actualize their ambition. But the way it is, whether they have came out, they have to be patient enough to see whether the system can compensate them, unlike what used to happen in the past. Because in the past, if you lose primary election in a particular political party, you can defect another political party. The time is there for you to actually go and pursue your ambition. It is unclear whether INEC, the umpire, will shift the date. If they shift the date, yes, political gladiators, those who lose the election, may want to go and try their luck in other political parties. But if they don't, of course, those who lose election, particularly senators, House of Rep members, will be trapped in APC. So I think that's a smart one. APC played on Nigerians. They played on, of course, the political space. Because whether we like it or not, APC control the Senate, control House of Rep. So when the Constitution, or rather the Electoral Act amendment was in process, they are the one that called the shots. But ultimately, as a person, I must say that what we needed as a people, as a person, is to ensure that we have free, fair, and credible election. For me, if we have free, fair, and credible process, it is irrespective of who wins. Because whoever wins or whoever comes out of the process, it implies that that is the type of government the people want. What I desire as a person is, let us have free and fair process. Let us have level playing ground. It was interesting when Mr. President came the other day to debunk impression about the speculation that his party and even himself are trying to force one-party system on Nigerians. But as good as his statement is, Nigerians are not persuaded to believe that he and his government are not the one orchestrating crisis in the opposition political party. Because as we can clearly see, even the president himself in the past, admonishing or rather telling the Senate president that he will be sending to the other side to go and scatter them, that they are confused. Shortly after that, we saw, though some people say he was joking, but I can clearly say that even if he was joking, that from the point of the Bible, where the Bible says, out of the abundance of the heart, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. Shortly after that, we saw his chief of staff, Rabiu, who took it up from there who advised a senator from Kogi State, who at the time was planning to, from rumors on ground, to defer to APC. In, in that admonition, that I should stay in ADC and do the good work he was doing. And at the time, this was a man who was challenging the David Mark-led ESCO. So how then can one say that the president, his handlers, his lieutenants are not the one orchestrating the crisis we witness in opposition political parties? Even though it is difficult to have evidence to tie them to all of this, but from all these outspoken words, it becomes difficult to say they are not the one orchestrating it. But I think what is important is that, going by the tenets of the constitution, Nigeria, by all standard, runs a multi-party system. And I think that must be sustained, because power, they say, corrupt, absolute power corrupts absolutely. If you are the president, you are the governor, and nobody is by the side as an alternative of people to vote for, you are already exercising absolute power that tends to corrupt absolutely. That is why we must strive as much as possible as a people, as a country, to protect the multi-party system that is entrenched in our constitution. Because for what we have seen already, we already seen impunity in the system, though it is somehow within the ambits of the law, talking about the mode of primary that restricts primary election or political parties to use direct primary and consensus. We have seen news that has made round from national dailies, where even senators who feel dissatisfied with pressure on them to drop their ambition can no longer go to elsewhere to test their popularity. Hence, the time have constrained them. The guidelines of INEC have constrained them. The Electoral Act, I cannot say the Electoral Act constrained them, because it is INEC that determines the deadline upon which political parties can submit their digital register. But if INEC decide to extend that deadline, I want to say that we are going to see mass exodus from APC. That must explain the reason they are not likely going to extend that deadline, because they want to trap everybody that feels dissatisfied to remain in APC, and of course, perhaps they have one way or the other to compensate whoever feels dissatisfied with the process. But I must say that the beauty of democracy ordinarily is availability of choice and the freedom to move to other platforms if you feel unfairly treated. I think that was explain the reason Obi was quoted to have said recently that if you need to move 20 times, that he will do it. And I think we have seen that play out recently as he just defected from ADC to NDC. I think for me, what we need is free, fair, and credible process that gives everybody level playing ground to operate. But for now, I must say a very big thank you. This is Santa Media and Mr. Match.
Oh yes. You all have seen how everything is going, defecting from one party to another for them to make up 2027 election, for them to make sure that they bring Tinubu down coming 2027. But what is there is that everybody is still waiting and everybody is still looking what will happen 2027 election, because for jumping from one party to another, I don't think it will solve this problem, and it will solve the problem of Nigeria. And all of them have their own promises every day, every now and then. They will come, they will promise Nigeria heaven on earth. But once they get into power, then the next thing they will forget everything they have been promising the country. And the next thing they will tell you that the budget, they find no money in the accounts, in the country's treasure accounts, and they do this, they do that, a lot of excuses and a lot of talk once they get into power. Since Tinubu gets into power till date, we have not even seen any little change in the government or any little change in the country. So the way it has been before, that is the way it is till date. So everybody is angry and everybody is thinking, what will be the next? What will be the next step? And then this hunger we are into, is it the type of things everybody will be forever? So nobody knows where he's going. That is why you see Obi is trying to put himself into the other day, and ADC, they are these days NDC. So Atiku, Kwankwaso, Elufai, in fact, all of them, they are confused and they don't know what to do. And they will know once they take power from one of them, then the next thing they will start looking for another place they will join so that they will keep moving. In fact, I would like you to watch it for you to see things that is going on in this country.
All right, so I want to ask this question: where is African Union? Is African Union alive? Because the president of Ghana, I know that he has been very vocal when it comes to this African Union thing. William Ruto, the president of Kenya, also said something about the African Union, where he said that video will have copyright because of the channel that published it. He said that the African Union is not effective and is not fit for purpose, and therefore the African Union need complete total reform. So, should we dissolve the African Union? Are they aware of what is going on in Nigeria? Right in front of the African Union, Libya went down. In front of the African Union, they were here. Sudan is gone, completely beyond repair. I'm telling you right now that the same strategy used to destabilize Sudan is the same strategy which is being used in Nigeria currently. We are going to be here doing ECOWAS, African Union. They are like juice factory these days. African Union will be here until they hear that there is coup d'etat in Nigeria. Then they will wake up. Hey, we no go agree. Putting out statement. They are going to send their already structured army that they are going to restore democracy in Nigeria, but they cannot restore peace in Nigeria. The video on your screen, this young man was going, and before I prove to you that Nigeria is about to become the explicit replica of Sudan, wait, this young man was traveling and he was somehow anyhow kidnapped. In fact, the only crime of this guy is the fact that he's a Nigerian. That's all. His only crime is the fact that he's a Nigerian. We will be here and Nigeria will completely fall. African Union, you have your army that you have been sending to countries that have done coup d'etat, remove corrupt officials. But this army cannot fight some bandit in bush wearing jalabia with slippers. The army of Nigeria has failed to protect the people of Nigeria. Now let me prove this to you. In Sudan, I said it from the beginning that Sudan, for example, we are going to have the same strategy. That is what we are going to see. In Sudan, do you know what is going on? The Janjaweed, which is now become the RSF, the Rapid Support Force in Sudan, they started like what is going on right now in Nigeria. In Nigeria right now, somehow anyhow, I don't know who came up with this useless idea that they want to rehabilitate these T group people and recruit them back into the community. Some are being recruited into the army. I don't understand who came up with this useless idea. I can't tell. And when you think about it, you can't fix it in your head. Talk less of fixing it on the ground. What is happening right now is that, these few days, they are taking out the generals in the army of Nigeria, one after the other. All the generals are going and they are replacing them. There is an agenda. I don't want to say certain things, so I'm keeping my conversation very cool. This is how the Janjaweed started in Sudan. They are in the bush buying all the black people to the level where the black people have it to the neck because they were carrying on some kind of whatever Islamic agenda. I don't know. The Janjaweed then was the same group of this T group. All of a sudden, the next thing we begin to hear is that, they are rehabilitating them. All of a sudden, the Janjaweed, all of them were recruited and rebranded, remodernized, and they have become the RSF, the Rapid Support Forces. The time they became the Rapid Support Forces, they are done eliminating the generals in the army of Sudan. There was total replacement, and they rehabilitate them, rebranded them to work alongside the military of Sudan. One day they wake up, join hands with the military. They took out the government so that they can run the country together. Now the military, the real army of Sudan, wake up only to realize that the Janjaweed, which is now the RSF, wake up against them because all of them are fighting for leadership. And look at what is going on in Sudan. Sudan is completely out out of coverage area, completely beyond repair as we're speaking right now. Honestly speaking, Sudan is gone. And on social media, whatever, when you talk about it, they flag you, they say this and that. Oh, let's keep that aside. Now, Nigeria, these guys in Nigeria, that video on your screen you are watching right now, they are recruited. That is a rehabilitating center. They are recruiting these guys from the bush. Some are going back into the community. Some are entering where? The military. The same strategy to rebrand this T group into an armed force to work alongside the army of Nigeria. Same strategy. Just as the Janjaweed were rebranded to become RSF, these guys that they are rebranding right now will be given a new name, polished name. Nigeria will be brought down to its knees. African Union, you'll be here until Nigeria fall. And I'm saying this, many of you will be watching me and say that, oh, you don't know the agenda of these guys. If Nigeria fall, the entire West Africa will go. Because Togo is just right beside Nigeria right there. Benin is closer. And as for Ghana, this is their domain. We are going to have a lot of Nigerians coming here, and our authorities, because of ECOWAS and Pan-Africanism, they cannot stop them. And therefore, we are going to have a lot of this T group trooping in. The day they handle, they are done with Nigeria, they will take the next country. It is a complete agenda going on. So where is African Union? If you have come across this video, especially on Facebook, try your possible best and tag the president of Ghana together with the African Union. They need to do something about this. If Nigeria fall, entire West Africa will fall. Currently, as we're speaking, these guys in the group, they are now more powerful than the entire army of Nigeria. Nigeria, that we always say this is the giant of Africa, they cannot fight people in Jalabia with slippers. Wearing jalabias with slippers, with Quran in their bags, up and down. You are appealing to the United States to come and help you. These guys, I don't know, somehow, anyhow, the rehabilitating center, I saw some white dudes around. Some guys came on board and these Europeans are coming in. I don't know how they are working with the rehabilitation staff. And we will be here. The army of Nigeria will be completely gone. We have the president of this group building an army straight from the bush in Nigeria. Shegumi. I'm talking about Shegumi. I know you have been picking people on the media and all that. Shegumi is what I'm talking about. That is the only intelligent man in Nigeria. When citizens are dead, you will not see him in action. When the citizens of Nigerians are dead in the hands of his group, I say his group, you will not see Shegumi in action. But let the Nigerian government take a stand and say we are going to clear these guys out. Shegumi will be out speaking for them. The army of Nigeria is calling these people prodigal son, quoting Bible scripture to us that we need to give them time to repent. What the hell do you mean repent? Send them to heaven. Let God handle the situation there. Here, this is earth. Here, we deal with human being here. What the hell do you mean that repentance? What are you talking about? What do you, how can the army even come out and make that statement in the first place to begin with? That you are giving time that these people should repent. And now, let me tell you one thing that they are also doing. Nigerians in Nigeria, in their own country, have become commodity that these guys are using. Nigerians. Let me tell you how they are doing it. The group in the bush are divided into two. There is one particular group. What they do is that they go to villages and then go to church and then tie everybody in there. They go to mosque and wear vests and then they will do all kind of things. Now, when they need money for ammunitions and stuff and all that, there is another group that go about kidnapping Nigerian citizens for ransom, to raise money to survive in the bush. Nigerians are commodity, are the resources they are trading to make money in the bush. So this army, we have been here, these people have become so powerful in the bush of Nigeria, in the forest right there. You see the reason why I've been shouting all the time. Last time, the Fulani communities in Ghana, they were angry with me. Yeah, I saw many of them, their videos. They were angry. Hey, I'm attacking their community. The energy you people use in this country and across Africa to come together against us when we talk about the things some of your people are doing. If you can use that energy, unite Huh? If you can use that energy and you unite to speak against the things that your people are doing, I think they will solve at least 30% of the problem. African Union, you need to sit up. We cannot sit here, watch Libya gone, watch Sudan gone. DRC is beyond repair. Under your watch, African Union, under your watch, DRC is beyond repair. Currently, as we speak, and look at Nigeria right now, if not because of the intervention of Captain Ibrahim Traore, Assimi Goita, General Tiani, the entire Sahel region will go offline under your watch. It is high time you get up and sit down with your men that you have been sitting down with, writing articles and then condemning coup d'etat. Sit down and make big decisions. Send your army to Nigeria and restore peace. It's not only about democracy. I'm very particular about this because in the next 30 years, I don't want my kids to be running up and down in Ghana because they need shelter from these guys. I'm particular about it because I don't want to leave this place and my grandchildren will be running up and down, being kidnapped, and then they'll be requesting ransom. That's why I'm speaking.
Oh yes, this guy is a Ghanaian blogger, a Ghanaian activist who is now seeing the evil that is going on in Nigeria, then rise up to speak up against the injustice that is happening in Nigeria. I know some people may know him, while some people may not know him. And the reason why we used to bring it this way, so that those who is campaigning from one party to another, how they are going to do this, how they are going to do that, once they get into power, they should try their best to make sure that they end this insecurity and they end this kidnapping everywhere. Although he's saying, talking about the AU, the ECOWAS, the UN, and the other world powers, other union around the world, so that they should look into what is happening in Nigeria. Because during the time of APC, when there was campaigning, all those things is what they campaign for. Once they get into power, they are going to wipe out Boko Haram, and they use Boko Haram to use it to chase away Good Luck Ibere Jonathan. Now, once they get into power, it gets worse. This time around, it is now worse than before. So everybody is afraid to come out. Everybody is afraid to speak up, and everybody don't even know what next will happen once you get to the streets or once you come back to your house. You are sleeping in the night, you cannot sleep very well. One eye will be open while the other one will be closed, for you to see the pain, the situation people living in the country is passing through. But those people who claim that they are political elect, they are leaders, they don't even care. Their own is how they are going to get power, and they are going to be there 2027, and how they are going to make it. No matter what is going on in this country, Tinubu himself, he did not care what is happening. They are boys. They call them prodigal sons, and daughters. Some of them, they have raised them and bring them back to the society. Some join the military, some join police, and some join other civil servants around the country. But you don't know who is who. That is why you see this terrorism keep growing higher every day, and which we don't even know what will be the next step to. So we are saying those whoever that is talking or whoever that is coming, they should look into the situation of the poor man, the situation of Nigeria, and the situation of those who don't have anybody to speak for them. Then if they believe that Nigerian cannot stay as one country, is it not better for them to divide and let everybody go and secure their life, instead of being in an area where there is no security, no work, no job, nothing? Once they move out to other countries, they'll be chasing them like a fly. It's a shame. So they should look into things going on in Nigeria. Well, I would like to hear your comment down below. What do you think about your thing happening in Nigeria? Like, subscribe, and share it for everyone to see things going on in this country. We say thank you for watching.